Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dietrich, and today I am very, very happy to be test driving a 1991 Toyota Corolla DX. And you may think that I'm being facetious by saying that I'm happy to be driving this car, but I really genuinely am for a couple of reasons. Number one, even though Toyota built millions and millions of sixth-generation Corollas for sale all over the world, where I live in Southern California, they are a pretty rare sight. Old cars like this end up going to other parts of the world, and so this car was recently traded into a Toyota dealer that I am tangentially connected to, and they were gracious enough to let me borrow it to review it. And the other reason I'm happy to be driving it, other than the rarity, is my grandmother, my dearly beloved departed grandmother, had this exact same car, same year. I'm pretty sure it was the same model, but it was light blue, not dark blue. And she owned it for, she bought it when it was like a year old until she stopped driving in 2017, 2018. 2017 was when she stopped driving. So yeah, she had it for 25 years, and I used to ride around with it as a little kid. I haven't ridden in one of these since last century, because by the time I got a driver's license, I was the one doing the driving. And this particular car, like this exact car, I believe was sitting in the customer's garage for probably at least 3 years with stuff stacked on top of it, based on the paint wear on the hood and the trunk, and the fact that the registration tag on the back of this thing is 3 years out of date. They had it towed to the dealership after they purchased the new car, and the battery was dead as a doornail, and all I have done to it is jump start it and put air in the tires. And it drives so much better than I expected. It is unbelievable how well this car drives. There is some body roll, of course, but the ride is much smoother than I would have expected based on the short wheelbase and the fact that, I don't know, it's a Corolla from 1991. It's actually relatively smooth on the freeway. There's some interesting things about older cars. So the steering ratio is a lot slower in this than it is in a newer car. Even like in a newer Corolla, it's a lot slower. So what that means is when you're going into a turn, you have to turn the wheel more to get the car to turn. But that's something that you adjust to very quickly. It's a 1.6 liter engine, fuel injected, 102 horsepower and 101 torque. And I'd say that most of them are still there. Standard on this car would have been a 5-speed manual. This one does have the optional automatic transmission. Everything I can find on the internet is telling me that it's a 4-speed automatic. From where I'm sitting, it sure feels like a 3-speed, because when you shift it, it's only got low, second, and drive on the actual shifter. And then I've never perceived it shifting from third to fourth. I've perceived it going into second gear, going into third gear, and maybe it just shifts really smooth into fourth. Maybe that's like an electric overdrive or something. And by the time I get going that fast, the wind noise from the leaky weather stripping on the driver's side window and the road noise drowns it all out, so I don't hear the shift or feel the shift, and I don't have a tachometer to see the shift. But in my opinion, I think it's a 3-speed automatic. I could be wrong. If you have any insight into this, I would love to know. Please leave a comment about that. But the handling on this car is good, and it does 80 on the freeway with no complaint whatsoever. You hear the engine again. I thought it was a 3-speed because you really hear the engine revving, but it does it without complaint. And this is just crazy. The air conditioner blows cold. The AM/FM radio works. It has a cassette deck. I haven't tried the cassette player yet. I don't know if that still works. Maybe it does. even after jump starting it a couple of times and driving it like 12 miles one way on the freeway, because I've been driving this car back and forth to work for the last couple of days, the battery works. It starts right up now. It's crazy. I don't know why these people weren't driving this car. No, I haven't done an oil change. I haven't, all the fluid, it's like, okay, it's got some coolant in there. Hopefully it'll be okay. Everything works. The coolant temperature gauge is trustworthy. The fuel gauge is trustworthy. I've messed with that stuff. There's some tape over the windshield defrost button, so maybe that doesn't work. I haven't tried it and it hasn't fogged up on me, so that I don't care about. But I'm still just flabbergasted by how well this drives. I guess on these 6th generation Corolla sedans for the US, this is an all-independent suspension, and you feel the suspension is good in this car. I'm not going to say it's great, but it's good. I have this very specific memory, and this would have been probably 2006. I think it was my last year of college, and I lived in this really shady apartment complex, and I knew this guy in there, and he got all drunk and high one night, and he started crying, and he told me he had warrants out in Trinity County, which was one county over from where we were, and he wanted me to drive him to the sheriff's department so he could turn himself in. And he had a 95 Camry. And I drove him on windy Highway 299, and my memory of that was the worst car I ever drove in my life. And we showed up at the sheriff's department at like 11 p.m. and they wouldn't take him. They're like, no, you got to come back during normal business hours, even though you have a warrant out. They wouldn't arrest him. Oh, and then he promptly passed out in the car, which was fine because I was tired of listening to him because he was messed up. But anyways, so I expected this car to be horrible to drive because of that experience. And you know, that was, God, almost 20 years ago. And new cars have gotten a lot better in the ensuing time. And I've driven so many of them in the ensuing time that my standards are higher. And I mean, I don't even know if you can hear me talking right now. One issue with this car is the seal by the driver's window has failed, so there's a lot of wind noise. But the handling and the chassis is actually really good on this car for what I was expecting. And you know, I've driven a lot of older cars, and you're more gentle with them because it's old, right? You don't want to break it. And I have not been really flogging and hammering this car, but the more I drive it, even though like the steering wheel is so dainty, and it's on 13-inch wheels with 175 millimeter wide tires, and it's the tires are old, they're cracked. I mean, if I hit a pothole too hard, it'd probably done. But the more I drive this thing, the more I feel like it's not mechanically fragile. Like if I wanted to beat on this car a little bit, I could, and I think it would take it. I don't want to beat on this car because, first of all, it's not mine, and second of all, it is old. And you know, this is a weird car for a dealer to take in on trade. Most of the time people don't trade in cars like this because you could get more for it on the street. But I think these people, it was just, they had it towed to the dealership. It was just boxes stacked on top of it in their garage. I don't know if they just didn't care about it anymore or they thought it was broken. The one thing that's wrong with it, it won't shift out of park unless you push this little button down there, like, I don't know, the shifter interlock or something is broken. But I guess Toyota knew that could break, so they put a little button. You just push the button and it releases it, and then you can shift it into gear. So maybe they thought that was a worse problem than it was. I don't know, or maybe they just didn't care. But like, the dealer's gonna send this car to auction. They're not gonna sell it because it's too old. And you know, I hope that somebody who doesn't have a lot of money and needs a reliable car gets this thing, because I do feel like if you change the oil once a year, put some new tires on it, you know, and kept up with the maintenance, I do feel like this car, it's only got 127,000 miles on it. And I'll bet you, if you just did the maintenance, just the basic stuff, you could probably get another 4 or 5 years out of this car before something really expensive breaks. Or really the problem would be finding parts for stuff that broke at this point. I don't think the parts, you know, were ever really that expensive. Now they're just gonna be hard to find. But look at this. I mean, I'm keeping up with traffic on a winding road, no problem. I don't know if it's out of alignment or you can see it, but when you're going straight, the steering wheel is kind of a little bit off to the side. It doesn't feel like it's out of alignment. I don't know why it does that. And when you let off the gas at higher speeds, there's a little shudder through the drive line. I don't know what's up with that either. And you get some body roll, and you can tell it's got a short wheelbase. And you can hear the engine, but it's not, you know, it's not an unpleasant sound. It's not a great sounding engine. Toyota 4-cylinders never are, but I'm really happy that I got to do this, to drive this car. I'm so happy. And that's, you know, I literally have a Mercedes with a twin-turbo V12 sitting in my garage. It's not like this is the only nice car I have to drive. It's just such a unique experience for where I live. I mean, there may be parts of the world where these things are still a dime a dozen, but if that's the case, they're probably not in as good a shape as this, because people have been using them every day for the last 35 years. I hope this car has a good life ahead of it, because it feels like it still has a lot of life left in it, and it wants to live. It wants to drive. It's happy to be on the road. That's what I'm getting from this car. That's what it's giving me. It's enjoying this. It's glad to be out of that garage and out from underneath those boxes and, you know, back out on the road, and it's giving me what it has to give. And it's, you know, the battery has a little sticker on it. It's from January of 2017. So this is July 4th, 2025 that I'm filming this. So the battery is 8.5 years old, and it's holding a charge. Like, it fires right up now. Like, this car wants to live. It wants that. And you may think I'm crazy to say that, but I don't know. I feel a connection to cars sometimes, and I find that it's easier to feel it with older cars. Speaking of older cars, what in the world? It is the 4th of July. So what in the world? Okay, apparently that's breaking down. He's got his hazard lights on. Amazing. Amazing. I wonder how my grandma's old car's doing. Probably sold that thing. I think they sold it in 2018 because she moved into a retirement home and then passed away a few years after that. Well, I'm gonna cut this off. I really like driving this car. I really like this car. I hope you liked my video. I'll put a link to my full review where we can look at some more details on it in the description and in the comments. Please like my video, subscribe to my channel, leave me a comment, tell me if you think I'm crazy, tell me if you think I'm not, and have a great day.